Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 158. These are the comics from August 21st, 2019. Tonight we have Poke Joe and myself, Huey the Comic Half Squatch. Separately, our powers, we're mere mortals, but together we are Blasted or Stash It. This is the first time we've ever caught our show. We pick up our books on Wednesday. We review them. A Blast is a book we hate. We'll throw it away. A Stash is something we keep. So this is a review show. So yeah, spoilers. But before we get started, I'd like to remind our viewers to hit that like button, share our show, make sure to get us out there. And, well, if you like prizes, go check out our Patreon over there. Go check out some of the books we give away just for $1 a month. It's less than a candy bar, but much, much sweeter. So we'll go and jump into the books this week. We'll start with Joe and your first book for the week.
Oh, right up off the bat, do you want to tell them of when we'll be back live in their face?
Yes.
Words? You should say that now. I
should say that now. That's why people know. We'll be back live on the 8th. Is next Saturday or next Sunday. I should have checked this out before. You caught me off guard here, Joe.
I do that. I'm a disruptor in the market.
We will be back live on September 15th. So one more weekend we're recording and then back live, hopefully, with everybody on the 15th of September.
Awesome. September 15th. Tell your friends, families, and everybody that you just generally know.
Yeah.
Be back here.
Even people who don't like comic books, what the hell are these things? Just to let them know. Yeah. They'll come watch us.
Still like our reviews. Speaking of reviews, do we want to start blasting things, or should I start off humbly and nicely? Of course, I'm going to start off blasting something.
Good.
Yeah, let's talk about this dumpster fire. So, run down real quick if you didn't see my show, and why you didn't, I don't know. But basically, girl gets thrown out of band. That's okay because I need to go to college to get a good job so I can take care of my dad. But I can't go to college here because I'm burned here. My identity's burned. So I'm going to jump through a portal and go to some other Earth that we don't know what it is. And because I exist and everybody likes me, I'm accepted into college. Peter Parker hooks me up. Oh, by the way, Peter Parker, you're not allowed to like me because I'm not your Gwen Stacy. I forgot that part. Me and Spider-Man are going to fight a giant rat. That took 3 pages, and most of it was just snarky commentary. And then after that, it was, I got to hurry put everything together and get it ready for college. This was a college entry exam. This thing read slow. The pacing's all over the place in this. The artwork, of course, the artwork's good. You can't say anything bad about the artwork. And that's its only saving grace. But other than that, this is not a story. This is, and also, why are you always tired and peckish? Well, because you don't eat enough. That was our big reveal in this one. Her suit drains energy from her. So she needs to eat more. So yeah, $5.99, folks. 2019. There you go.
$6 for that thing?
Yeah.
Really?
It's supposed to be $4.99. I paid the extra $1 because I'm an idiot.
Was that a variant cover?
No, it was just the first issue that came out. My store's not stupid. They're jumping on the bandwagon.
So they individually jacked the price up another $1.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just to cover it, because he had to get all the variants. There was something weird about this issue when it came out. The way you had to order it, it was slightly different than normal. So a lot of shops ended up having to get skated out a couple of bucks. So my shop just made up the difference. I'm not even mad at him about it. I totally get it. That's fine. If my shop's the only one that did it, that's fine too. But that doesn't justify the story on the inside. Even $4.99 doesn't justify the story on the inside of this. It's just not worth it. This is a 25-cent book. And that's where it's going to end up being in the next 6 months.
Yeah, that had some pretty cool variant covers to it, but I wasn't going to pay anything more. I don't think my shop's got them.
Gwen Stacy book, Spider Ghost book, whatever she wanted to call herself. I fell for the variants, right? And I ended up getting quite a few of the variants. But a lot of people actually liked that book. So I kind of got it. But this one, no. Nice try.
Okay, my first book is by Scout Comics. This is Headless, #1. Apparently, it was a artistic choice, but they said, hey, we're only going to use 4 colors. We're going to use pink, we're going to use blue, we're going to use black, we're going to use white. no other shades of blue, no other shades of pink. This is it. So it was kind of I mean, if you look at that, there's the whole interior right there: pink, blues, whites, blacks, and that's it. So the whole story starts out this crime scene. Local sheriff and a couple of his deputies going old like grizzled sheriff. When he's talking, he kind of reminds me of Clint Eastwood. You know, like he's one of his deputies said they're all dead. You know, this line here I heard Clint Eastwood. He says, "Well, that's very astute, Winter. What gave it away? The kid's head hanging out of the refrigerator here, or let me guess, was it his legs dangling in front of the olives?" You know, just kind of remind me of the Clint Eastwood kind of like gruffness behind it. But we find out there's more to that. It's not just a death. These sheriffs maybe have some like religious kind of history with it. They bring out a cross. They start "Begone, malicious one," you know, just chanting out this demon, and this demon pops out from this body, and they're like, "He's back," you know. And then it goes into some kids. It's like the 80s. They're playing in an arcade. They get bullied by this other group of guys. One guy reminds me of the bully from Hey Arnold. I don't know if you ever watched that. The kid with a leather jacket and hair that kind of whack, you know, there he is there, and more of a comic. I can't get my camera figured out, you know.
No, yeah. He's kind of like a green character or something like that.
Yeah. So we find out one of these sheriffs too is, or deputies, is the older brother to one of those kids in the arcade. They get home later that night, and deputy goes in and check on his brother. His brother's kind of listening to some music. He gets startled. And then there's this gremlin thing that pops up in his room, a pink gremlin. And it shows, and he's talking to the kid, and he's telling the kid that he's the next headless horseman, essentially. And that's just kind of how it ends.
Nice.
So the demons kind of tie into the headless horseman. You know, somebody's back. So it's kind of interesting in that dynamic, knowing that the deputy is one of the ones investigating what's going on, but yet his little brother is maybe the cause of some of this stuff, or potential moving forward cause of some of this stuff. I didn't like the art very much. I didn't like the color scheme of it very much. I'm not a big fan of that artistic thing. I don't think I'll pick up issue 2, though. So it's a blast. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I won't pick up issue 2.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype behind that book too, wasn't there?
A little bit. I think was that the indie. No, the other indie book I got was more the hype on it. It's going for $15-20.
Okay. Let's talk about. You read Batman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it on the offer. Let's talk about that. Okay. So first off, King, thank you, but I think it's a little too late scenario as you're being pulled off of Batman. This was actually a good issue. I loved this issue. A little over the top with some of it, but I get it. We got Damian. Damian learns a magic trick, is the best way to describe it, to keep Gotham Girl under control and chained down. I like the fact that the spell that he read was nothing more than him saying, bind this one backwards or something to that effect. Very Zartana-like. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be some kind of connection there. Also, we get this quick blah, blah, blah story about, he sold his soul to a demon and blah, 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 that scenario. I hope that turns into something later. I think this could be like a hint to a future storyline or arc, or where he's having to deal with the meta or the supernatural. That's going to be great. Batman finally wakes up. Nobody cares. I hate to say it, but Batman is seriously the sideline character in his own comic book in this issue. Like, there's no point in it. The villains are scary in it, doing scary stuff. Robin, or we'll just call him Damian. Damian sneaks back into Gotham. He's doling out justice, and then he meets everybody says it's his grandfather. I refuse to say it's his grandfather because he's from another dimension. He's not really related to him in any way. It's like having a doppelganger on another planet, right? It doesn't mean they're related to it. So Thomas Wayne and Damian, they go at it. I like the fight scene. I'm glad Robin didn't beat him, because it's annoying when they do that in comic books, where you got like this 12-year-old kid beating the hell out of a 50-something-year-old adult. Like, I'm not buying it. Like, I don't care how many karate or taekwondo classes you've been to. That's just not going to happen, right? More stuff about Batman that nobody cares about. The fight breaks out. We get the capture little bit of torture going on, and just to push that torture even more, and to show that Bane is a man of his word. He said, any of the Bat family come in here, I will kill Alfred. And then we also kind of find out that was kind of Alfred's plan, too, in the story, to keep them out from coming in there. So that was really interesting. But we finally got Damian Wayne kind of knocked off his pedestal a little bit and down a couple of notches. As Bane cracks his neck right there in front of Wayne, you actually see just the brokenness of Damian Wayne as he breaks down and cries. I think that's great. I always thought Damian Wayne was a little stuck-up, snobbish little kid. I never really understood him any. Yeah, he said some funny things, but actually to see that maturing moment, I think we're going to get some really good stuff with Damian Wayne here in the future, because, you know, all it takes is that little push into sadness to turn you into a much darker hero. So I'm kind of hoping they go that route with it. I think that would be interesting. And again, I don't care about Catwoman and Batman in this story.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that this is a holodeck, because what has Tom King been doing this whole time?
God, if he's really dead. Every Batman book on fire.
So to go back, Damian even acknowledged, say, hey, you're not my grandfather, even though Thomas keeps saying, no, I'm your grandfather from this world. Like, no, you're not. I do like the fact it showed Damian kind of kicking his ass at the beginning of it, but I think Thomas is kind of letting him, because toward the end, it shows that Thomas going, he decides, like, okay, fine, I guess I got to do this, you know, and just kicks his ass in a couple moves. Yeah, I'm afraid this is all just fake. I don't know. I hope not, but I really feel that Tom King's going to pull that out. There's no way Alfred's dead. He's going to be back. But it was a good book. I said I read through it again this morning before we jumped on here, and kind of got the gist of it. Okay, that's right. I remember that part. I do like the part about the Scarecrow and Zaz at the beginning. Yeah. Like, yeah, we used to be bad guys, but now we're enforcing city ordinances. And the dog like off a leash longer than 3 feet, and they're like going.
That was ridiculous.
But that was pretty good. That was good stuff. Yeah, it was stashed though. I definitely enjoyed it. Had some good action in there. I do agree with you. Batman's more of a sideline character in his own book. Is he actually awake? You know, what's going on? I think, was it Tony Daniel? Tony Daniel was the artist on that. I generally like his stuff, and it was pretty good. Other than Catwoman looks a little too young in there for me. She needs to be, looks a little older. But other than that's a minor gripe. But
yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they really play off this whole thing that technically Alfred's death is Damian Wayne's fault. Like, Tom King just seems like the kind of guy that would try to make that into a mental disaster, right?
Oh, so Damian had a little PTSD going forward?
Maybe guilt, something. Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe he goes a little villainous for a while. That would be interesting.
Maybe. Let's talk about. Let's see here. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about another Batman villain. Let's talk about Black Mask here, the villain number 1.
Yes.
This was not on my list. I did not have this on my pull list to pick up. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab it and read it just in case. This was actually great. The only downside to it, I wish there was more Black Mask and less Batwoman. That is my only gripe about it. Because Black Mask was a great character. I loved how they developed him and how he was his kid, how he kind of, his family looked up to the Waynes, but they were this makeup company, and that's how he kind of started wearing this mask, essentially. You know, he had a collection as a kid, and moving forward from there, he's talking about, well, if Damian can survive without his parents, I can too. And he burns the house down with his parents in there. What a great psychotic little beginning to this character. And how Luthor comes to him and says, hey, you know what, you want it back at all? You're going about it wrong. You could do petty crime and be financially successful here, you know, crime. But let's talk about domination, essentially. What could we do to get you back in this thing, but more of almost like a legal kind of way to some degree? And so he takes on these masks to take on these companies. He gets revealed by Batwoman and Montoya. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I really could have done without the Batwoman stuff. I would have just, you know, her part could have a little bit smaller in here, and I still could have uh, been okay. But I wanted more Black Mask. I'm not sure if this is just a one and done, but I'm kind of hoping they have a number 2 with the more Black Mask in there. So this was a stash for me. I actually enjoyed this a lot. I'm glad I picked it up.
Yeah, I thought this was great. I've never really got into the Batwoman world, if you will. So I don't know if any of the villains there. I couldn't even tell you who crosses over and who doesn't. But yeah, we got a kid here who's obviously, parents are fixated on the way that he looks because he has a dull eye. He looks kind of slumpy in the thing, and then he meets Bruce Wayne as a child, and he even says in there, it's absolutely the thought of this, the perfect smile, the perfect hair. He's constantly on this, and then him burning his parents' house to the ground, and then he grows up to be a villain, and his Black Mask is skeleton, if you will.
To my, because my headphones.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, so the mask that he wears, it's actually carved out of his father's coffin. I thought that was just a great aesthetic touch to the writing of it, and it really gave us the morbid of the way this person thinks. Definitely some body dysmorphia issues going on. He needs to hide his face, his dull eye. He has a problem with it to the point where it makes him almost psychotic. Uh, he has no problems with chopping off limbs and fingers to get fingerprints. And then we get some Batwoman stuff, and she swoops in and saves the day or whatever. But now he can change his face like a chameleon because of Luther's advice. Man, that was just great. Just a great story. And it just made sense. And yeah, I want some more of this character. Like, let's get him out there in the year of the villain. Let's put him in Doom or whatever we got to do to make him the espionage psycho killer of Doom, but we need more of him. It is just awesome. I love this story.
Yeah, I forgot about the coffin thing with the mask. The other part I did love at the beginning, even though he's this murderous, person, he's in that armored car at the beginning. When Luther comes into the armored car and he shoots Gary. He's like, I shot Gary. This the whole. There's a part of it that when you add somebody's name into that, when a person's like a psychotic murderous killer, but you add like a personality, like, hey, I'm gonna call you by your first name. That adds another level of like
creepiness to it.
Yeah, yeah. It really so it's almost like he had this relationship with Gary, and then he accidentally shot him.
He kind of did. He was sitting there talking to Gary, like Gary's like everybody else, and he's like, "Hey, if I'm yakking too much, I can kill you right now."
Yeah.
And the truth is, he's just talking to himself the entire time. He probably doesn't even recognize Gary. But it's awesome. Good stuff. I enjoyed that one. I LOL'd out loud.
Okay. You're up with your next book.
Oh, let's keep it on a positive note. Let's go to something indie. Middlewest. Did you pick this up?
I did, yes.
Oh, most powerful issue yet. This was great. So what's the underlying tones in this? This is spending a lot of time on nature versus nurture, because we actually meet Abel's grandfather in this. We find out he's a storm being too. And then we start noticing little contrasting things about them. They're all angry. Like, all the men are super angry. And we're being led to believe that it's this, that their anger comes from this rather than being angry and projecting it onto people, right? And which way they're going to take that, I don't know. But we do get a lot of backstory that apparently Abel's dad wasn't always that bad. Like, he loved to sing and he loved to play the guitar. He vaguely remember meeting his grandfather after his wife died, and things along those lines. We find out that this world that he lives in, he's the reason why it's barren and cold and wasteful there, because it's much like his heart, if you will. I like this because really we're going to get an inside look at Abel. We know he can be angry, right? We've seen him be angry and turn into the storm, but he doesn't want to do it. We find out his father was the same way too. So that was kind of interesting. The parallel lines are drawing there generationally. Now the question is it the storm that makes them angry, that lives in them, right? Is that what makes them angry? Or is it something that they do that feeds the storm? That kind of yin and yang kind of thing going on. I like the playing off of it. It makes a lot of sense. I think it brings another level of dichotomy to it at a very high level. So definitely some deep reading here, or just look at it for its great artwork and the simplistic story that it's telling. Either way, this is definitely a great story, and it's my pick of the week. Well, I actually have more than one pick of the week. This is pick of the week number 1.
His
See, there are a lot
grandfather,
of books I like out there.
his grandfather looks a lot like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, right.
I was like, oh, that was Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, so we find out, at that funeral, the grandfather's trying to give this trinket, this piece of jewelry that was his grandmother's, and Abel's dad wants nothing to do with it. I don't want my son to have anything from you. So he kind of shielded Abel from his grandfather, so not knowing family at all. Because again, too, like you said, maybe that anger issue started with the grandfather, and Abel's dad saw that, and maybe it comes to a certain part in their life where then that just kind of that transition to that anger to their child. I don't know, towards their child. I don't know.
I don't know.
But we still have this other. This is what the story's progressing as. He meets this person. He thinks it's this good person. He thinks they're going to be friends, and it changes, everything about it, what you think about it. That's some of the stuff that I've been getting a little annoyed with. It's like, okay, meet this person. Friends? No friends. Okay, moving on. Meet the next person. Friends? No friends. Okay, moving on. That's some of the stuff that's kind of driving me nuts. I'm not saying it's a bad story. I'm still enjoying it. But yeah, his grandfather's saying, you're just like your father. You're a disappointment. You're not willing to accept what you've been given. You're not willing to use it to its best abilities. You're weak, all this stuff. But yeah, definitely, it's good. I'm still going to continue to pick it up. Is this ongoing, or is this a maxi series?
I thought it was just a series, but I would be surprised if they don't pick it up and stretch this out, because we're coming to a conclusion here in the story. You kind of get that theme.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious where it ends up. Also, there's some important things about the fox. When we met Scotty Young at C2E2, we know that there's a special role of the fox. And I have my suspicions about it, but I don't want to spoil it. But so we know the fox is going to come back into play. We know the little girl and the robot are going to come back into play. So I'm kind of hoping that does, and maybe we can get an ongoing series from this. I think once it turns into an ongoing series, I think that's when it will probably drop off. And you can just expect a different story all the time from it. I think that's where the boredom's going to come into it. But, the way Netflix and all these streaming channels are picking up comic books right now,
yeah,
it won't surprise me in the next year or two if this doesn't turn into a mini series on one of the streaming channels.
According to COZ, that only shows 12 issues, so it looks like maybe only 2 left.
Okay.
Of this,
there's a lot of story to wrap up in 2 issues.
Yeah, we'll see. I could definitely continue to pick it up and read it throughout if it ends at issue 12, just to complete that story, because it has been a good adventure story. Kid trying to find his way, so it's definitely been a stash. Okay, let's talk about
coffee.
Let's talk about It Blast, and this is probably going to make me drop this book now, and that's Savage Sword of Conan number 8.
I'm going to sit back and listen to you tear this one up. Go ahead.
Did you read it?
No.
So at the end of the last issue, Conan met with this guy. He's supposed to be his protector going to this card game, and they find out the guy got poisoned and was dead, and now Conan had to play the game in his stead. And so Conan knows nothing about this game. Essentially, it's just like 21, but it's 13. And you have cards you can play against each other to nullify other cards. So Conan's trying to figure out how to play the game. He plays the game. He wins. And so he's going to take off. And the guy that was leading the game says, no, how about we do this? How about we do, double or nothing, essentially. So Conan falls for it. We see like a pool shark, the same kind of shit. The guy knew what he was doing, got Conan back in there, took Conan for everything he had, then threw him in a pit to fight this beast. That essentially, that's how the book ends. I don't want Conan the gambler. I want Conan the barbarian.
Sounds like they're trying to tell a Western story versus a barbarian story.
And that's what it's like to some degree. Like I said, I might pick up the next one because it says to be concluded. I mean, he's fighting this big beast at the end of the book. That's where the pit they throw him, and he's already been beat to shit because as soon as he lost, he was getting attacked. I mean, that stuff was kind of cool. A lot of action there, but he ended up getting a spear to the side, getting his butt handed to him, and thrown in the pit. But dude, really, Conan's sitting trying to figure out. Conan's not known for really his smarts. I mean, when it comes to maybe war and battle, yeah, he's intelligent that way. But playing card games, come on, I don't know. It just didn't hit me, and yeah, I'm picking up the next issue. I'm dropping it. I just want to finish off this Conan the Gambler story arc and see if he beats the monster. Kind of remind me of that. I forgot the name of that big monster in Return of the Jedi that they throw.
What the thing looked like? Yeah, the what is it called?
I want to say Gorlag, but that's not right.
Something like Gorlag, Raglag. I don't know.
But yeah, that's it. Kind of remind me of that. Other than that, dude, Cody, you got to know when to hold him, Conan. Got to know when to fold him. Know when to walk away, and know when to run. We don't count your money when you're sitting at the table. So it's a blast. Poor Conan.
Poor Conan. All right, let's read some. Did you read Absolute Carnage versus? Oh no, you didn't. Let me tell you all about it so I can spoil it for you.
Absolute Carnage versus what?
Deadpool.
I read that. Yeah, I read this one.
Oh, okay. You did read this? This is good storytelling. This is great. Quick synopsis of the whole story, basically. And I kind of agree with Deadpool on his reasoning in this one. I don't know what that says about me, but I kind of agree with him. So him and his buddy Spider-Man, right, are hanging out, and we find out that Deadpool wants to throw a birthday party for Spider-Man, but he doesn't know Spider-Man's secret identity, so he doesn't really know his birthday, nor does he know any of his friends and family. So what does he do? He picks a random date and invites all of his villains, all the villains that ever knew him, to come to this birthday party for him. They're chasing him down the road. Rhino was nice enough to bring a gift anyway. Great gift. Self-promoted gift.
Yeah.
It was absolutely hilarious, and I kind of got it. Like I would do this too. Like at my American Legion, it's a bunch of old grumpy people, right? So I'm like, hey, when's your birthday? And they're like, oh, I don't even celebrate my birthday. So I'll just make up a date. Well, like, well, happy birthday. Here's a beer. Like, just to be a jerk. All right. Spider-Man's had enough. This was the big moment that, Spider-Man's you need help. Out of all their shenanigans together, that was it. Okay, whatever. So Deadpool goes to Ravenclaw to get some mental help from James Jonason's Jr. James Jonason Jr. Is that it? Whatever. And because apparently he's a therapist now. First he was an astronaut turned werewolf, now therapist. I don't know when the therapy thing happened. Whatever. I'm not beating that up. What we find out when we get there is basically everybody, all the Carnage cult is there, right? So James Jonason's now the werewolf Carnage version of it. Everybody's a Carnage in it. Deadpool thinks he's in some sort of immersion therapy, extreme immersion therapy, and I thought that was hilarious. Anytime you get to poke at fun at psychology, I'm on board with that because there is some crap out there. Finds out it's not, decides that he needs to dispatch all of it, or at least get out of there, right? That's the goal, to run away because he has no weapons on him. Taking the classic microwave and sticking a bunch of metal in it, setting them on fire, because you know that that's what Carnages don't like, and running away. And then the realization that the literal unicorn landed on their lap. Deadpool being the only person that has carried 4 symbiotes in him. That's a lot of codices in his spine. Remember, that's what the Carnages are after, these codices that are apparently located in the spine. So having 4 in there, he's legitimately the honeypot of codices right now. So they are going to chase him down. I think we're going to get some good storytelling out of this. Simple, fun. This is going to be eye-opening and spec-worthy, no, but good reading where you mix a little bit of horror because it had the creepy undertones of the insane asylum and a bunch of carnages hanging out in it, and then you got the snarky wittiness and whimsical part. He's a lot more whimsical in this book of Deadpool, and both of them coming together. I think it just tells a great story. It lets you jump from scene to scene very smoothly. The pacing and the art in it's beautiful. So yeah, I'm down with this. I'll be picking some more up of this. This is a good story.
Yeah, this is another one that I didn't pick up, and I watched your video and you talked briefly about it, and I'm like, I'm gonna go pick it up. So I picked it up yesterday on my way to work, and I read it last night. Yeah, this was good. This was fun. I love the first part of it. The whole Rhino bringing a gift, like, and I forgot who. You think, am I the only one that actually brought a present? And then I guess you're an idiot. Who was that? The Hammerhead?
Yeah, it looks like Hammerhead.
That was great. And for some reason, when I turned the page, he says, you did everything but invite J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, well, about that. And he's sitting there with a little party hat on off to the side. I don't know why that. I laughed out loud at that stupid little panel right there. I don't know why I was so lame, but I laughed at it. He's like, I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have showed up here. Freaking wall crawling menace. And that part just got me. I love that part. And then Spidey just saying, hey, you definitely need help. You're psychotic. Yeah, this was good stuff. And I do like that at the end where they have that realization where, hey, almost, like Endgame, where can we find 3 of these Infinity Stones in one area? Right here, boom. Essentially the same kind of thing. We can knock out 4 of these by taking out this one guy. So, yeah, definitely good stuff. I have not been in on the tie-ins on this, but man, this is one I'm probably going to pick up number 2 on just to follow through and see where it's going. Just because
if you're going to have a big event and you're going to have tons and tons of tie-ins, and you really want people to buy the tie-ins, you got to make them better some way. Like most tie-ins are just garbage that have nothing to do with the main story. But if you make that story interesting, I think people would generally buy it.
Yeah,
and this is a good example of how to do it correctly, I think.
Well, we better talk about this. We're about 40 minutes in, so we better definitely talk about Powers of 10, Powers of X, whatever you want to call it.
Powers of X.
That's what I say. It's just easier. The House of X, Powers of X. But I picked up the 1 in 10 variant on that.
So did I.
Yeah. This was good. I actually love this story.
It was good. Like I'm so happy. Yeah.
It wasn't jumping around between the multiple timelines. The 100, the 1,000, the whatever. It was just the main story where the mutants go to attack this church, but they find out it's more of a distraction because they're trying to get information on Nimrod, trying to figure out where he got created or what date he got created to pass that information on to McTaggart, yeah.
I love that name, by the way. That has grown on me.
So her role in this story, it made a huge difference here. I mean, they talked about, the Groundhog Day stuff and how she's kind of reborn and she remembers information from her previous life. It really made that connection strong here. It really made that work here. And, they get the shard, they bring it back to her, they upload essentially to her body, to her memory system, and the Wolverine says, hey, you know what's got to happen next? And she's like, yep, I know, I'm prepared for it. And then she gets the claws, not a sexual thing, but she gets the claws. Yeah, what a great story, because everybody knew that they would die for the greater good. They knew that essentially they were going to be essentially reborn. So the nihilist is Zorn, Zach.
Yeah, I don't know. In the chat, how would you pronounce Xorn? Like, I don't know how to pronounce that. Zorn. My wife's saying Zorn, so we'll go with Zorn.
That's what I would say would be Zorn. Yeah. Although I'm never known for pronouncing names correctly. So, but I do love his character as well. He's just talking about sweet annihilation, finally. And he was a great character, and so I look forward to hopefully him might be in in the X-Men universe.
Well, we know he'll come back because it's
yeah.
a reincarnation.
But this was a great story, and it really, like I said, really kind of tied everything together, the backstory a little bit more. And so I'm like, oh, okay. But definitely stash. And I'm looking forward to following up on this and seeing what's going to go. Now, they showed her timeline now. Okay, this is her ninth life. Is that what it was? They showed her way in the future.
Yeah.
Does that make sense for you now, or?
No.
No?
This story doesn't make past stories any better. This is just a good story on its own. And that's how I generally look at it. We already knew that she did the reincarnation thing. They spent way too long over promoting it. And it still, to some degree, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, it's a comic book. We should be able to look past certain things. And then they gave us a story that had a middle, beginning, and end. Like, that's how you tell a story. And I loved it. We got action in it. We got some heartfelt moments that kind of tugged at you a little bit. Yes, the information that was downloaded to her, we don't know why that happens. It's just another random thing that may get explained later. Like, why is he able to put a crystal through her chest already and she absorbed information? Like, why was that a thing? And how far in the future is she at that point? And how is she that far in the future? Because all she can do is reincarnate. Does that kind of get? So I'm not overthinking it. I'm taking the story for where it's at. A comic book, especially X-Men, you need action, you need heart, and you need sacrifice. And guess what? We got all that in this book, and we got introduced to some of these newer characters. I love this nihilist. He legitimately called himself a nihilist, and then did what a nihilist would do. Instead of, I'm a nihilist, everybody needs to die. No, I'm a nihilist, I need to die. That was awesome. That was great. And then even when she was pulling the mask off of him, because he's a singularity, he can blow everything up. Taking the mask off of him, apparently that's something that controls him. The art told us about him. It didn't need to be explained. It was good. But even as the mask is coming off, he's smiling underneath it. I was like, that is awesome. I love this guy. I want some more of this guy. So yeah, great story.
And then we find that Apocalypse actually kind of sacrifices himself as well to stay behind to protect and to make sure the information gets back to where it needs to go. So, yeah. But Wolverine gets blown to hell, and he's like, "I'll stick around." And like, dude, if you saw yourself, you would not be saying that. I thought that was kind of a cool line, and so they all get out of there. But yeah, that was definitely a stash for sure. So let's talk about. Well, actually, it's your turn to talk about something.
I want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a huge fan of this run right now. We get a baseline definition of family dynamics by definition. And it's not that who's the head of the household dynamics. It's how a family unit of some sort interacts with each other. Well, apparently the Guardians are extremely selfish people, more especially Groot. I disagree with Groot in this, and I find him to be completely arrogant and selfish. Rocket Raccoon tells his story in this one, so we get his origin story again, and the horrific things that he had to go through. And then come to find out at one point his body's starting to reject all this stuff, and he is dying in this issue. And Groot sits there and basically tells him, so what, we're family. And Rocket Raccoon ultimately asked the question, well, everything I've been through, everything I've done, saving the universe and the galaxies, don't I get to choose how I die? And apparently Groot doesn't think so. I guess that was supposed to be a heartfelt moment to teach Rocket Raccoon a lesson. I found it to be very selfish, but it's still good reading. It's a lot deeper than it should have been. Loved it. And then, of course, Rocket Raccoon is going to get into a Voltron-esque outfit, and he's going to go fight. That's just how selfish the Guardians of the Galaxies really are, that they're going to make this poor, oversized rodent that's dying go fight. Horrible, horrible. And then on top of it, Peter Quill's hanging out with his father, and we're getting dynamics there as well about how faith is more important than family to Peter Quill's father. And it looks like they're going to be resurrecting what looked like Adam Warlock's cocoon. And then we find out that it's not just the one, it's several of them. And the reason why they're doing that, because any other time that somebody's tried to raise Adam Warlock before, it always turned bad, yada, yada, yada. We get that story. So, a whole bay full of them should work. Now, the question is it going to be Adam Warlock? I don't know. And you can make the argument that it's the Cocoon, but then I have to bring your attention to Incredible Hulk Annual number 6, where Paragon comes out of it. This is the first appearance of Paragon, also known as Her. She was born in a very similar cocoon, like Adam Warlock has very similar powers. Are they going to kind of do a mix-up with both of them in there? I don't know. Some of my other nerdlings, if you will, we've talked about the same character in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, where there's 2 cocoons now, one by the Collector and one on the planet that's made of gold. So we may see something in the future. It'd be kind of cool if we got a hint of it in the comic book as well. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. What did you think about Guardians of the Galaxy, homeboy?
It was good, yeah. I guess I got a little bit different feel from the Rocket Groot thing than you did. Yeah, I can see where he deserves the respect to kind of die how he wants to die. But yeah, I can see this family that we don't care. He's like, I don't want you to seem like this. And, when you care about family stuff, it's not about how, we know what you've done. We don't want you to do this on your own. I guess I see more of that side of it. But yeah, he does continue to fight regardless of how ill or sick he is. He just finds a different way to fight. So he uses that mech suit to move forward with that. I don't know what's up with Cosmo and Lockjaw, where they turn into their primitive selves of just doggies. Yeah. Like he says, well, Matt, never show your belly to no one. That's what Lockjaw tells Cosmo. I'm like, what the hell's going on? There's dog.
Great Lord dog. Yeah, they're worshiping each other. It's so weird.
I'm surprised they didn't sniff each other's butts. That I was waiting for that. To come up and start sniffing. Yeah, the cocoon in this one seems a lot more phallic than the old cocoon to me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
What's going on there?
Like you could say the same argument about the old one, like the book You Shut Up. It could be very phallic looking. But yeah, this was still good. I'll still continue to pick this up. I kind of want to see where if I thought it was supposed to be the death of Rocket. Is that what they said, or was it supposed to be the last issue?
That's what we've been promised. Kill the rat already. We'll find a cosmic squid with an attitude problem, and we'll use him. It doesn't really matter to me.
It's still good. I'll still pick it up. But I'm interested to see what's going to go on with all these cocoons. If we're going to, Star-Lord's going to end up destroying them all, or we're going to get somebody out of it. We'll see. Could be his new army moving forward let's go with another independent. Let's go with Bad Reception. I think you read this one as well.
Just picked it up, yeah.
Here's Guardians. So in this book, this is only a mini-series. I think it's only 4 or 5 issues long. Essentially what this is, they got this one author guy who's saying, he writes this book, #unplug or something along those lines, where you need to remove yourself from social media, have this cleanse essentially. He's getting married to this woman who is all about the social media, and that's her job. That's how she gets money. It's likes and shares on Instagram and I don't know. I think Instagram's the main one that people use anymore rather than Twitter or Facebook. But that's her job. So that seems kind of weird. Those people are kind of like, the guy admits he's kind of hooked to his cell phone and social media as well, but he's able to accept that and move forward and have this cleanse. So they're getting married. They're having this wedding with no cell phones at all. They're even going old school, as in the photographer's not even digital. It's all processing of the film in a dark room.
1990s. Yeah. It's all 1990s.
Yeah. And so, but people want these pictures. You know how people are now. When somebody gets married, they pay top dollar for the pictures or whatever. So they're trying to keep it as secret as possible. They're only inviting a handful of people, and they're telling everybody, hey, this is a cell phone free zone, no social media. And that's how it's going forward. I think the couple are a little bit longer on their cleanse with the social media versus the other people that just get there and then drop their phones and not able to have them. But, as the story's going along, they're inviting these people, going to meet their friends, saying, hey, I want you to come. There's a little panel at the bottom that shows like kind of like a more disturbing side of what's going on in the whole story, as it plays out. It gets more and more violent, and more blood and everything else as it's going on. And, she's inviting people that are not necessarily like her top friends she hangs out with now, but like people she went to college with that she kind of lost touch with. So she invites her. The husband's inviting an MMA guy, as well as I forgot the other guy who was inviting some. They're totally opposite people.
Yeah, it's a primitive cook guy, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because they go out in the middle of the woods, he's like cooking something. He's, I'm like, what the hell, dude? Do you really want to cook who's out in the middle of the woods, just living on his own, preparing your food? Maybe it's some hipster stuff. I don't know. We find out there's one other person that she's wanting to invite, and she's up going to, spoilers, of course, into the prison. It's her dad. He gets out in a couple days. She's able to make it to her wedding, and that's how the book ends. So they're out in this wedding. They're out on their ceremony. They show this picture here. I'm not sure if it actually is related to what's going on, but that's we know that they're out at their wedding, no reception, and people are dying. So I guess it's kind of a warning against social media, saying, hey, you need to unplug. People are too connected. People are too worried about their likes. People are too worried about YouTube. So I don't know. If it was in $1 bin, I'd probably pick it up. I'd pick up the other two just to finish it up. But I don't think I'm going to be paying $4 an issue for that just to figure out what the rest of the story is.
Yeah, this kind of tries to pose the point of our obsession with social media and social commentary as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just does it in the most generic way possible. Obviously, the writer of this comic book has some things to say about this what do you call himself? A techno ethicist. And the problem with that is that's just an authoritative title for people to tell other people what to do online. I actually looked it up. These people actually do exist, and they try to make like some sort of rules of what can be said. I don't know about most people, but I live in America. If I want to be a jerk on Twitter, I have the God-given right to be a jerk on Twitter, and Twitter can block me as a private company in an open market. I am perfectly fine with that. I don't know. I think maybe the problem, we'll go that way, with social media, if there isn't even a problem with it, it doesn't make people worse. People are already bad. And I said this on my own channel. If you're going to say something bad about somebody or be a jerk about something, you'll say it behind the person's back just as easily as you'll put it on the internet. So I don't understand why people think they're worse online or they're protected online or whatever the case may be. I think we take social media a little too seriously. Like if you own a business right now and you're watching this and you legitimately think that you can check on an employee or somebody you're about to hire and you think that their social media persona has anything to do with them, shame on you. That's not a good judgment of people. And this is trying to tell you that in fact it is. And to unplug and walk away. Well, social media and the internet is a tool. It's a tool to make things faster, to keep connected with people that you can't see on a regular basis. You're definitely talking to more people. If I wanted people to not love technology so much, I would say, okay, here's a stone and some wood spikes, build your house, because you don't get a hammer and a nail. It's a tool just like anything else. So I don't really buy off on this whole unplugged thing. Do people spend too much time on it? Sure. In this book, it's making it seem like it's running these people's lives. And if it is, that's more of a commentary on the person, not the actual internet itself. So just off the premise of this complete story, I think it's stupid. And I won't be picking this up anymore.
And, it seems crazy, you read something or watch something and it's all of a sudden, bam, it's right in the forefront of your mind. You're noticing this little thing like that. And, as I'm driving home from work last night, I'm at a stoplight. Some guy going across, 5 lanes of traffic, carrying his skateboard, looking at his phone the entire time going across the road. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Just get across the freaking road. You don't need to look at your phone the entire time you're walking.
You know what? Before cell phones, I would drive to school. Let me think. It was my '89 Renault Alliance. Yeah, I had that car. And I would drive to school, and I had a Twinkie in this hand, a cup of coffee in this hand, and I was steering with my knees because I was trying to eat quickly before I went over to the Votech. I was a DJ over at the Votech Center. Kids do stupid things. It's if it's not a cell phone, it's a watch that is a transformer, or it's a comic book, or whatever the case may be. Young people are going to do stupid things, and we give them more things to do it with. That's fine. The truth of the matter is as the world changes, our perceptions of it should as well. Now, of course, there's addictions to anything. There's extreme outliers, right? If you're on social media and you're on there, what normal people would work in a day, that's probably a sign that you have a problem. But overall, it's, again, I mean, television, VCRs, DVDs. We've been told to unplug ever since we were kids. Nintendo came out. How many hours did you spend on your first Nintendo game?
Oh, yeah.
you know? And you're not running around killing turtles in the middle of the road.
I do choke raccoons, though, apparently. So I don't know if that either related to my inability to unplug, but let's see. Let's talk about what else you want to talk about. So we just talked about.
Where are we at on time? Are we wasting everybody's time? Are we doing lightning rounds, or are we just talking?
Well, we got one other kind of big book. You kind of enjoyed it. That's no, I didn't pick up that one. I was thinking about Superman.
Oh, you want to talk about this one? Okay,
let's talk about Superman Year One.
Okay, so yeah, Superman Year One. First, please stop doing this oversized monstrosity. It doesn't make any sense. I like this story. Let me be very, very clear on that. However, I don't like the fact that it's a Superman story. I think that's where we messed up. This should be a Superman story. You know what you should have done? Here's what you should have done. If you read the book, it starts in Kansas, right? All right, change Kansas to Colorado. Just change it. And instead of Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent, make it Suzanne and Robert McAvoy, right? And then have Superman not be Superman. Call him something else. It crashes to Earth, or in some way manifests itself on the Earth. And these two ranchers take care of this thing, and this kid grows up with these values to be instilled in him that you would see in farming towns only on a ranch, right? Just go with me for a second. Now, all of a sudden, he gets the call to arms, right? He wants to go be in the military. And because he's super strong and he has these abilities, he has to constantly remind himself, just like the story told us, don't show off, don't, carry that limit, maybe have some quirks in there that are kind of funny. And then all of a sudden he becomes a Navy SEAL. Now, first off, I don't know anybody. I know some SEALs. Going from basic training and ending it early to go to SEAL, that doesn't, no. But whatever. It's the best they can do. And now he's in SEAL camp. He becomes a SEAL. You know what we just created right here? You, me, and everybody out there. We just created an origin story for a brand new hero that would have been kind of cool. Instead, we tried to retcon Superman's story into becoming a Navy SEAL. Yeah, I thought it was a great opportunity to create something new and not completely change a superhero that's existed forever. Like I said, I love the story. I don't get the whole mermaid thing, why that's a thing in it. Like, just out of nowhere, apparently out in California, that's where Atlantis is now, is what we're being led to believe. Aquaman's not around, and I don't know, Superboy, we'll call him Superboy at this point, wants to bone some fish lady. Creepy. But all in all, I like the action in it. I got the points it was trying to make. I just wish it wasn't Superman. Like, just give it another name and create a new character that we can follow. That would have been awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm picking up, I think the next issue. I think I'm done. I just could not deal with thought of Superman being a SEAL. Yeah, again, too, if it was somebody else, sure, great, whatever, I can deal with that. But Superman, what? What the hell? Why is he going to Atlantis? Why is he doing this? Is like, again, this is Aquaman's story almost more than it is a Superman story to some degree, because he does have the thing with the mermaids and Atlantis and all that stuff. He is showing how superior he is, and people, his leaders are noticing how he never tires. He's always the best he can be. He always exceeds, but not overly. I mean, he's still holding himself back.
Yeah.
I do have a question on the sound effect they're using for the batons. The batons or the pugil sticks. That's what it was.
Yeah, pugil sticks. Yeah.
The fap. Amy knows.
Yeah,
fapping.
The dances you sound like that when you hit because they're cushioned at the end.
I get that, but you know what fapping is, right?
Yes.
I could not get past that. I could not get past. Oh my god, dude! Really couldn't use a different sound effect for different. I get it's supposed to be soften blow or whatever like that, but fap.
They went with.
So I don't know. And John Romita Jr. art is hard for me. I mean, it's again, he's a better artist than I would ever be.
Well, yeah, that's why we're critics.
Yeah. But man, it just and then he's got to prove himself to
Poseidon.
Thank you. At the end of the book too. I don't know. It's just it's blasphemy. I cannot deal with retconning Superman's story that much.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I'm not getting this whole let's retcon everything era that we're in. Let's recreate all these. Look, that's fine if that's your story, but the one thing you can't do is get mad when people don't like it. Like, you just have to accept that. If you're going to retcon something and it's so far off base, then shame on you. Of course, you're going to get criticism for it. And trust me, there's not a lot of people that are screaming that this book is good. Like, it's okay story at best. I'll give it that. Again, if it wasn't Superman, it was the creation of something new, just changing the main story a little bit, like all superhero stories. You would have had a great origin story right here with a cross between, I don't know, a Captain Atom military type character and a Superman, Blue Boy Scout, kind of meshed together there. You could have done something really kind of cool with that. Instead, to sell the book, you decided to throw Superman's name on it. And you wonder why people are criticizing this. So, I'll tell you.
So, I thought I saw it somewhere in here where Clark's like kind of almost refusing to kill to some degree. I mean, does he still have that aspect of himself? Because, I mean, that's part of the big thing of being Superman.
Yeah, he didn't want to, when he was going through the room there and how he was talking about how easy it was to kill everybody. They make it easy. And you kind of got this brief hint that he wasn't really digging that very much.
Right here. Clark is supposed to join in on the killing, but he holds back his strength just enough. The man's brains stay inside his head.
Yeah. Also, I don't like this repeat myself speech that's constantly going on in there. Like, it will say something like, and now it's done. And now it's done. It's supposed to have that double effect to it. I hate it when people do that in speeches, and I more so hate it when they do it in comic books, because that's just false emotion, and I hate that. It's redundant, repetitive, and unnecessary, and they do it a lot in this book, and it's just annoying. It's pretentious, too. It's just,
And then now he's the king of Atlantis.
Apparently. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing here. They're doing what they want to do.
That's what I say. I started reading it at the beginning of the week after I picked it up, and then I go, God, dude, I got to put it down. It's hard for me. And I had to finish it up last night. I struggled through it, the last of it. I think I even skimmed some of the Atlantis stuff just to kind of like, okay, I'm done. Good.
It's a hard read.
Yeah, so... that puts us in at an hour. What else you want? Let's jump in the lightning round and just talk about other books real quick.
Okay. Let's roll through the lightning round. Most of my stuff is okay. We still got some DC and Marvel stuff. So, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. The point of this book, like all the other ones that I own, is it's supposed to be kind of whimsical, and you're supposed to be having some fun with the characters. This is taking it just a little too seriously for me. So this is obviously a blast. It's trying to tell three serious stories that shouldn't be serious. Like it's supposed to be a fun book, but they're trying to make it meta, right? Just more meta and dark, and it's stupid. Marvel Comics presents. We find out that Wolverine's daughter is pretentious, annoying character. Oh my god, she's annoying, and for some reason, Wolverine looks like a hobo in this. We get the dangers of social media from Spider-Woman because some girl decided to play a prank, and all the bad guys of Spider-Woman think that this other woman is Spider-Woman trying to kill her because, the villains are stupid. And the last one, the Korean white fox, sucks the life out of people. Sounds like marriage to me. Moving on. Goon deals with the cycle of poverty and how it works. Great analogy in here about how sometimes the teach a man to fish routine doesn't always work in today's society. I thought that was a good point in here. Maybe a little confounded, but yeah, I'll go with it. We deal with hobos and bums and cycle being poor in here. Next, yep, I'm still picking this up. I don't know why. It's not sexy. It's actually ugly and horrible and artist. Just the worst. That's Faithless number 5. Apparently there's more of that being made for some reason. Let's see here. Oh, last stop on the red line. If you've been watching the show, you know I love this book. I love the themes of this book, but this issue kind of destroyed everything we thought of the book so far. We find out Yosef is actually kind of conjuring his own reality in it. Sounds like a holodeck setup for me. I'll pick up the next issue, read it there at the store, and if that turns out to be the case, I'll burn the store down.
Nice, okay.
Moving on, pretty violent. This is whimsically stupid fun for no reason to be violent. There's no story here. There's just action, cussing, and a little girl with a bad attitude and blood everywhere. It is great. Hard stash for me. Loved it. And last but not least, probably we'll go ahead and say it. No, we won't. I'll refrain. We got Strayed. If you don't know what this is an astro projecting cat that finds life on planets so the military can colonize it, and the crazy cat lady's the hero. So yeah, it's stupid. This is horrible. This is so ridiculously bad. Crazy cat lady should not be the star of any comic book. She's the crazy cat lady. Astro projecting cat, don't even get me started on how it can check out so many planets in such a short amount of time, because travel, distance, and time and space is nothing more than time itself. So horrible writing. You don't know 7th grade science, apparently. So yeah, screw you. All right, that's all I got.
It's the same artist that did Bad Reception. John Wando.
Yeah. Same scratchy art. It just, yeah.
But the crazy cat lady in here, she's the one that invented the collar that could communicate with the cat, and therefore they use that technology on the colonizing planets too, try to communicate with them. Right.
This whole thing is nothing more than a stab at colonization and how the military is used to colonize things. Mm-hmm. I get that. The writer of this book is very socially aware. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And is quite pretentious and annoying too. And she tries to. I like how she pulled back, because you can tell in this story, like, she really just wanted to let just the stupidness fly. But it kind of got held back in this. I did like the point that the general explained to the lady how the military works. With or without you, we're going to do this. We're the military. We got the big guns. It's going to happen. I thought that was interesting. Douchebaggy, but it is how the military works.
Canto number 3. This kind of reminds me of Middlewest a little bit, just because of the Jim Henson type stuff in there. The adventure he's going on. There was one quick panel in here where he's with that giant like cat looking thing that usually hunts his people, but he befriended. There's a threat that pops up, and he like jumps on the back of this cat thing like it's his steed and getting ready to attack. That was kind of cool. But other than that, like I said, it's typical adventure where he's running into people. They're telling him a little bit of story. He keeps going further and further down until you figure that one. Goon number 4. Of course, at the end of this one, we find the Beelzebub beer. So we know that number 5 came out last time. Number 4 came out this time. Yeah, I don't think it really didn't hurt anything because we were able to read number 5 without that little tiny backstory.
Contained stories. Yeah, we know Gangster Chimp's going to be in the next issue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There was a little bit much on some stuff. I can understand. I remember starting out earlier, in my career when I'm looking for work. It's like, we need education in order to do this. Well, how do I get education? I don't have any money to buy the education. I don't have any experience to jump in this position without education, blah, blah, blah. I can understand a lot of that too. But, the whole part where I think it was a bit much of a socialist, that they're all, the guys are beating the crap out of them. That was a bit extreme, but, whatever. It is what it is. And I can understand the plight of somebody that trying to get ahead, but they can't, they have the greatest intentions, but yeah. Psycho List. This was the one that was like the $15-$20 book. That's kind of the spec book this week.
Yeah, what was that about?
This guy's a former FBI agent. Now he's a therapist, and now he meets with his people. He is in one meeting, and he's talking to this lady that got beat up. And he's like, well, can't you just leave him? Can't you fight back? And she's like, my husband's a 6'9" former tight end or whatever it was from some football, team, professional football team. And so the main character goes to the bar, he's doing a drink, and he ends up running into the guy, on purpose, that beats the crap out of the 6'9" guy. You say, hey, if you touch your wife again, this will be the end of it. And now his former partner in the FBI is trying to pull him back into this case. I don't know. I think I'll pass on the second one. I think a chance to read Teen Titans 33. Didn't read that one this week. I picked up the facsimile of that, the Batman and Robin, the first Ra's al Ghul. These are just cover buys. Art Germ, Vampirella number 2. The first one wasn't too bad on this. I think it's only a 5-part miniseries. That's Red Sonja, Birth of She-Devil, and this was the last part of Cold Blood Samurai, which now I can go through and try to read the whole group together and try to make sense of that. So those are my books for the week, and that's the end of our show, technically. So, but before we head out of here, let's remind people of our Patreon, all that fun stuff that we give away on there. For $1 a month. You can enter your contest to get a book of the month. It's usually about $20-$25 book, usually $1 a month, less than a candy bar. Candy bar $1.29 now. Maybe get on sale for 79 cents. I don't know, depending on where you go. Check out our social media. We have our Facebook, we have our Twitter, we have our Instagram. Check us out on all those places. And again, too, we are going live on the 15th of September. So one more week of recording, and then it's back live at least for until next spring, until we figure out what my schedule is going to be like next year or whatever's going to happen between all of us here. So. Any last minute things for you?
Yeah, definitely. September 15th is going to be a great day. Tell your friends, tell your family. We want to be able to just talk to all of you in the chat again and definitely interact with you again. It's definitely been weird with the recording. I tried to make the chats and talk with you all, but it's just not the same. So definitely want to see you back there on that day. Check out each one of our channels. Everybody on the Blaster Stash It has their own channels as well. Also, Baltimore Comic Con is coming. Let us know if you are going. Me and Spectacular Spider Grandpa are definitely going to be there, along with Drew Manchu, out there running around, acting a fool. I don't know, nakedness may be involved. I don't know. It's a crazy time for all of us. It's crazy. Definitely check out our Patreon. We have some great books that we want to get out to you. So definitely enter that. $1 make you holler. Guaranteed to win something cool if you win.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have anything else, buddy.
Yeah. The other thing too is tomorrow I'll probably be going back live again sometime in the middle of the mid morning, maybe early afternoon, looking at the books that are coming out this week and kind of what's on my pull list and what I'm looking forward to reviewing next week. So if you want to stop and check on that, I'll be here live doing that. So.
And let us know what you want us to review. What do you want us to review? Let us know down in the comments below. Give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe. We love you.
All that good fun stuff. So whether you blast it, whether you sash, you happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next week.